What's up, Flames Nation? Alan York back with you here for another video chat. This time we're joined by quarterback Malik Willis out of Atlanta, Georgia. And Malik, thanks for taking time to join us here. What have the last couple of weeks been for you and this team, given the coronavirus? And how have you maneuvered through your days in Atlanta, working out and taking classes? And bottle all that up for us and how things have been going for you.
Well, you just gotta take it as we get it, control what you can control. We just gotta stay together and do everything that we need to be doing, whether we're on campus, off campus, wherever we're at in the country. We just gotta do what we're supposed to do, and you know what they say, social distance and all that stuff. But we just gotta take care of what we gotta take care of. And just because we're not at school, it doesn't mean we need to slip up on our grades and stuff. That's the most important thing in the first place. We got to take care of our bodies because at the end of the day, the season's not over just because we're not on campus right now. So we just got to take care of our business.
You talk about keeping your bodies in shape. How have you been doing that down there in Atlanta?
I'm glad you asked because we got a great coaching staff and great strength and conditioning staff with Coach Dom, and he sends us out new workouts every week, even stuff that you can do without having access to a weight room. Like a lot of weight rooms and facilities are here that they're closed. Even the fields and parks, like they're closed off because we're supposed to be social distancing. So Coach Dom sends us workouts we can do with everyday stuff like household items. Fill up a suitcase up to 40, 50 pounds. You get your workout in. And they work every part of your body like we were on campus in the weight room.
Give us your typical day now. You're in your house in Atlanta. Are you taking online classes like most everybody else is?
Oh yes, sir. I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have two classes. One is at 1:05, and the other one is at 2:15. And on Tuesday and Thursday, I have an 8:15 class in the morning. And we, depending on what days they pick during the week, we still have like football meeting. We have quarterback meeting. We take care of that. So it doesn't stop. It keeps going regardless where we at. It doesn't stop.
How have you enjoyed your time at Liberty? You came in last year redshirted, and I know you were able to practice and get a good feel for what Hugh Freeze is wanting to do with this offense. And outside of that, athletically, spiritually, academically, what's the last year or so been like for you since you've been in Lynchburg?
I think it's definitely been different. I just had to be a sponge, honestly, and just taking everything I could take in. Because at the end of the day, this is the most important days of our lives. Like this is what's setting our foundation for what's going to be the rest of our lives, regardless of athletics and stuff. We got to take care of these academics. We got to take care of this spiritually, and just being at this university where they hold it to such a high standard and of high importance, it just is really a great environment to be in. And the people around here are just great people, and this is a great place to be.
Joined by quarterback Malik Willis. I want to talk a little bit about your recruitment out of high school. You ended up going to Auburn and then transferring to Liberty. What did you know about Liberty when you decided to transfer, and any connections you might have had to the school, maybe even before you committed to going to Auburn?
I could say it was a couple connections that I didn't know were even made until I got here. Like a couple coaches on the staff, they coached at West Georgia, and that's where we had our FCA camp in high school. For the high school teams play against each other in a little camp before the season starts. And they were on the coaching staff, and my head coach at Roswell, where I went my senior year, they were tight. They knew each other, so that was a crazy thing when I got to talking to some of the coaches when I got here, and they were talking about my head coach in high school. I was just like, oh, that's crazy how that works out.
So when you decided to leave Auburn and you kind of opened up the opportunity to go wherever, did Liberty reach out to you first, and how quickly did that relationship build before you ended up committing to Liberty?
They reached out probably a couple weeks maybe into the portal, and that just was he was really just insistent on getting me up on campus, get me up on campus. He could tell you what you want over the phone, but it was get me up on campus, and I think that's really set it apart. It's great campus, and it's a Power Five facilities. Like it's stuff that you gonna see these big places, and you're not gonna see at the small places. And for Liberty to be second year D1 like bowl eligible, like this is we're way ahead of the curve. Like, it's just a great place.
What coach was that, Malik, you talked about?
Oh, Coach Queso, and a couple other coaches that just came from the defensive staff from West Georgia.
But you mentioned one coach wanting to get you to campus to Liberty to check it out. What coach was that? I'm sorry I missed that.
Oh, Coach Freeze, my bad.
Oh, it was Coach Freeze. Okay.
Yes, sir. He was just
When's the
like,
first time you met him?
I met Coach Freeze.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even know I met him before, but apparently he came to one of our practices at Auburn, and he had seen me there. I didn't even know he was there. You
Yeah.
got to be locked in that practice. You can't be worried about who out there.
No, I know.
But that
How
was
about
crazy.
you playing against Liberty a couple of years ago and then end up transferring to a school you scored a touchdown against? That's pretty cool. What do you remember about playing against Liberty in that game? And I'm curious, one of the two guys you first met that is still on the team that remembered you playing in that game a couple of years ago.
It's funny that you say that because when I first got here, that's all they talked about. They was like, "You're gonna have to take that post off Instagram of you scoring on that." So I was like, I didn't even notice, bro." Like, because at the end of the day, you wasn't really thinking about like, "Oh, dang, we just played them." It was just like, "Oh, we played them." But I think
Right.
the biggest thing was when I first got here, like, just from Coach Freeze and then being here a semester, that spring that we were, it was just a totally different team from the team we watched on film, the team we prepared for. And you just see the elevation and definitely throughout this season. And you see what happened. We got a bowl victory, just
Yeah.
crazy to see it
What did you learn
firsthand.
about yourself having to sit out this past year? I know they tried to get a waiver for you to become eligible immediately, didn't work out. But at the same time, you were able to kind of slowly get yourself used to the campus and used to this football program. So I'm sure there's some silver linings in the fact that you weren't able to actually play in a game. But taking all that and knowing now you are eligible, the last 12 months for you, not having that pressure of having to compete, but still learning about yourself. What are some of those things you took away from the last year?
I think the most thing I took away was don't stop working and patience. You just got to be patient because regardless what happened, it's on God's time and you can't make it happen just because you want it to happen. And it ended up being a good thing because Buckshot, he got to finish out his career. He had a great career. He had a great last season. I was really impressed. I was really happy for him. And he got his own bowl victory coming from FCS to FBS, and that was just amazing for me to see firsthand. I made a lot of connections and relationships. I learned more about the offense. I just got better as a person.
Joined by
And being
Malik
at Liberty,
Willis, Liberty
oh yeah,
quarterback. Sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, and just even spiritually, I got Bible classes. Like, it's not crazy, but it's very interesting to see them implement the spirituality into the curriculum, and that's just not everywhere. And I feel like that's a great thing.
Joined by quarterback Malik Willis. I want to kind of dive in, Malik, about loving football and who introduced you to the sport. What are some of your early memories of playing football?
Oh, well, that's a while ago. Probably started as soon as I could run around the front yard. That's where it started. Um, just playing with my brother and before my brother is 4 years younger than me, so I'm out there playing with my dad, my uncles, my cousins. We're out there just having a ball, and then regularly started at like five. I started five, playing six and under, right up the street from where I live. So it started real young, and it just kept building and building and building. So now.
Was it always the first passion for you, or were there some other sports you liked as much?
I like baseball. I mean, I played that just the same amount since 5 years old, just continuing to build on what I was doing. I just couldn't play my senior year because I graduated high school early enrolled at Auburn. So I kind of had to let it go, but I do miss it.
Well, a couple more baseball questions. That's my favorite sport, despite being a radio guy for football and men's basketball. Who are some of your Braves fan? I would assume maybe.
Yeah, I used to be definitely Jason
Okay.
Hayward, Chipper Jones. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to be. It's Atlanta.
That's right. Well, how about your football heroes? Some of those pro athletes you pretended to be in the backyard, and some you even look up to today.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's really a lot of them, like, because I just like all the pieces of their game, and you can just put it together like a masterpiece, and you can make one. That's what I try to do. I try to take a little piece from everybody and just try to make myself better. Not changing who I am, but just implementing a little bit of that, a little bit of that, just to keep getting better. Like
Mhm.
you got, you got people that everybody look up. You got Mighty Vic, you got Peyton Manning, you got a whole bunch of people. You got Randall Cunningham. You got all these people.
Randall Cunningham. You're going
Yes,
way
sir.
back there.
Oh yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
even went to the
That's
same high school as
impressive.
Cam Newton. Like you
Yeah,
just got all
yeah.
these guys that you can look up to, and now it's more like people our age doing it, like Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. People like only 3, 4, 5 years older than us. Like they're not like guys that are about to retire, like Tom Brady and Philip Rivers and none of those guys. But
Hmm.
same
I'm
importance of
40.
what they
I'm
doing.
43, Malik. I'm 43, and Randall Cunningham. When I was in elementary school, junior high, he was like the man. So for you to go way back with Randall Cunningham, that speaks about how much the history of the game you study. So kudos to you when you look at that way. When folks see you on the field, now we're talking about Malik Willis. What type of quarterback do you think you are? Kind of describe yourself on the field.
I think I've actually transformed from just being a playmaker out there to being more of like a field manager, like a game manager, like just taking everything in and applying everything I know to it. Not just going out there trying to make the big play. Now I'm taking care of the game or the sticks. We just gotta get first downs, move the football, take shots when we need to. Don't take shots when we don't need to. Just that type of stuff. Just keep the ball in our hands.
I remember last year, first couple of games where Hugh had to coach from the press box and then from that pit box. And when he was able to get onto the field, how much better this offense got. When you look at what Coach Freeze brings to this team offensively, and even Ken Austin, your position coach, those two guys alone, how do they make you a better player?
Oh, that made me light years better player. I just grown so much since I've been here, and just Coach Austin with the fundamentals of the game, not just letting me, you know what I'm saying, go off athletic ability and just go out there and make plays. However I make plays, he's actually making me do it the right way, regardless of the result. It might be a great play, but he's gonna still coach me up and make sure I'm doing it the right way. And I feel like that's the most important part because that's what's gonna make me the most successful and the most consistent. And Coach Freeze is the same way. He's gonna be hard on me and
Yeah.
keep it solid.
How about today as we record this at 1:30? It's April 16th. Football's over. You get your classes out of the way. What does Malik Willis like to do with his time? And I know you're going to say family and friends, and that's should be number one outside of God. But what are some things about Malik Willis that maybe we don't know, and how you kind of spend your time?
I mean, yeah, you got God, family. I mean, we can't really see friends right about it, man. We're social
Right.
distancing. But I mean, I try to watch a little football, watch a little Netflix, a little Hulu, play a game. You know, I like playing the game. As I keep my
Okay.
free time, Call of Duty, Madden,
Yeah.
that's it.
What?
And then you get your little workout in every day and just
Yeah,
do something to get better. Because somebody out there working, you going to let them work
that's
harder?
true.
That's the question.
That is true. And I'm glad you've carved out about 30 minutes for us here so I can get you back out working because I know that's what you want to be doing. Um, you mentioned Netflix. I know Tiger King is pretty hype right now. What are some shows you're watching when you have a time to binge watch?
That's a good question. They putting a lot of new stuff out there though. I just watched a couple new movies. I gotta find me a new show though. It's a
Okay.
lot though. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'm like one of those Netflix guys. I can find a lot of stuff to watch on there.
What are you looking forward to most, Malik, when the the mandates to stay at home, the social distancing, which I think the social distancing despite mandates being lifted, I still think the world is going to operate in a different way than what we previously have known. It's not a bad thing, but people just need to be safe. But what are you looking forward to most from a football, from a Liberty perspective, from a team perspective? What are you looking forward to most getting back into the groove of things?
I just look at it as a big challenge, honestly. You gotta like you gonna face adversity in any part of your life. So it's just how you respond, honestly. And this is no different, regardless of if we can be at school or not. Are you gonna have the mental toughness to stay down and do your work while you at home so you don't go back and fall off? You gotta stay at that level. Because if you don't do something, you're definitely going down. You're not going up. You're not staying the same if you don't do the same. So I just look at it, we're gonna have to get back. We're gonna jump right back where we left off. We had 5 spring practices. We gotta go back in there and keep it going, keep building. Honestly,
We talk about that the computer. We talk about the quarterback room, and there's a lot of good, talented guys in there, along with yourself. And Coach Austin tells us all the time how much he enjoys being around this quarterback group, and a lot of mixture of guys coming in from somewhere else. And then you got JB, who got hurt last year. He's been around the block a little bit. So when you look at that room and competing with those guys, how do they make you a better quarterback?
competition breeds champions. Competition
Yeah.
breeds greatness. So you gotta look at it like that. You're gonna be competing in any part of your life. You competing against the people that are in your quarterback room. You competing against the people that you're gonna be playing against. You competing against the people that's just playing the sport. You're competing at all times. You competing against the defense when you go out there, offense versus defense. It doesn't really matter. It's just supposed to make you better at the end of the day. You got to take it. You can't fold from it. You just got to build on it. Like I said, take it in and make each other better, feed off each other, help each other. It's not one person out there. We're all the same team, regardless of
Yeah.
competition or no competition.
What about in the classroom? What are you studying? Intended major right now?
Right now, I'm in interdisciplinary studies. I'm supposed to graduate in December, honestly, and
Okay.
it's interdisciplinary studies. It's I got two separate like parts of it. So I got business part of it and then the sports management part of it. So
Just so I'm right on my P's and Q's, how many years of eligibility do you have left?
I have two.
So you have 2 more years and graduate in December. That is phenomenal, man. Congratulations on the impending graduation. That's first and foremost when you go to school. So that's going to be great for you to get. When it
Thank you.
comes to other stuff outside of football, outside of the classroom, when you get back to campus, I know it's completely the 10 years I've been there, it's transformed from just aesthetically looking. It's done a 180. What are some of your favorite parts about campus outside of the football center and the training table and things like that?
Honestly, everything. It's a bit of a change from where I grew up. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. It's not really
Yeah.
any mountains out there. You got Stone Mountain, that's man-made mountain. But even driving up, you see mountains in North Carolina, South Carolina, and now you're in Liberty, you're in Lynchburg, Virginia. And you go walking around on campus, you got mountains in the back view, even in our nutrition, our the food
Training
table.
table.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
training table. But you got a beautiful view of the LAC, like our complex for academics, and like half of the campus. You got the little softball field, and you got mountains in the background. It's just a beautiful place. And you catch a good like sunset or like sunrise, like you get in there early, you see a
Mm,
pretty sky. You honestly do.
yeah. What about if football is not part of the equation? You talk about interdisciplinary studies for a career outside of football. Eventually, we all have to think about that down the road, and hopefully, maybe not for you longer than it is, or you won't have to worry about that, as I'm trying to say. But outside of football, what a career path for you? What right now do you have one? And if you don't, that's okay too.
Um, I mean, before uh before I was gonna come in and do engineering, but I couldn't take the classes I needed to at Auburn while I had our practice schedule and stuff. So I
Yeah.
kinda had to like switch it up. But it ended up being a good thing because interdisciplinary studies you can do a lot with that, especially with the business and the sports management side of it. Like you can really pick a pathway. That's why I liked it and I got it. Just the depending on which one I like the most when I get through.
I remember that game at Auburn. You're at Liberty now, and that's what I want to focus in on. But I'm sure there's good parts about your stay at Auburn that you'll always cherish. I just remember Jordan-Hare Stadium, just how and we've been in stadiums before, but how big that video board was. I remember standing underneath it, and it was just like it felt like it was going to fall over. It was so big. And I'd been to Auburn before with some buddies, kind of visiting the campus. But your stay out of Auburn, not to cherry pick a lot of things, but what's maybe one thing you'll cherish during your time there?
I'll cherish the relationships. I'll cherish everything. I mean, regardless of what went down at Auburn, it made me a
Yeah.
better player. It made me a better human being. It made me just better in general. It humbled me. It made me work harder. It made me study harder. It made me watch more film. It made me be the best I can be, honest. And I built my body up to where it's at and continue to build it with Coach Dom. And that's thanks to Auburn. I was, 185 when I came out of high school. I'm 215 now,
Yeah.
like solid. Like without them, I probably wouldn't have been 200 wet, soaking wet. So regardless of what happened, that helped me mentally, physically, emotionally.
A couple more thoughts here as we kind of focus back in on Liberty, and we all have goals with what we want to do for the season coming up. I even have them as a broadcaster. How about in 2020 for you? And I do know, part of these interviews we do, Malik, are to kind of circle the wagons and kind of be a distraction for people in a good way, because I think sports can do that given the kind of climate we're living in right now. So as you kind of talk to our fans here for this season. I do think we'll have football at some point. Will it be an abbreviated season? I can't answer that, but I do think people are heeding the warnings from the government, doing what they need to do to stay safe. But for you, entering this season, getting back on the field, how excited are you again, and kind of the things you look to build on this football team?
Oh, I'm the most excited I've been in a long time. I'm ready to get back out there. I'm itching. That was a long year. I'm not gonna lie to you. It told me
Yeah.
patience, but that was a long year. And I'm just ready to get back out there with the guys and just build new relationships. Because regardless of how our relationship is right now on that battlefield, you're gonna either come together or you're gonna
Mm.
separate. And I dang sure want to come together. And that's what we hoping for, and that's what we building on every day. Staying together, making sure we're behind each other.